And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another day of the Overwatch League here in the APAC region. I'm Achilles, kicking off the show alongside Avril. And oh, good golly gosh, do we have an absolute banger of a match. It's your and I's favorite, Avril. It's the Spaghetti Bowl. It's the Fusion going up against the Dynasty.
It's the best. It really is the best rivalry I think we have in the Eastern Division. At least it's my favorite one. We have a few different ones out here, but this one is something special. These two teams have just met so many times in the past. Their match record is so even. I believe it's like 5-4. I'll find out in direction of which team in just a moment as well. And the matches always deliver in one way or the other, Achilles, whether it's just an amazing spaghetti fest or whether both teams are performing highly. And I think in 2022, we got the MasterChef edition. I think both teams are looking good this year.
No, they absolutely are. They've been off to some pretty great starts. Dynasty, a little bit rough around the edges at times. You know, 5-map series there versus the Valiant, but they still have that 2-1 scoreline. Both teams are looking to get the third. Before we go ahead and take a look at the starting rosters, of course, we got a little hype video to get this ready to go, so let's go ahead and check it out. And there you have it. The stage is set. Carpe, gonna turn on the aircon, make sure that everything's nice and chill in the team house before he gets ready to sit down and try to find a third match victory. So far, the Fusion have been looking incredible, Avril. The rookies on this squad especially have really stepped up, and they are looking for a 3-0 start to the season.
Backed by champion of this team as well in terms of their longest standing member. You know, he's their veteran, he's their captain. It's Carpe, of course, what I'm talking about. He's searching, ironically, for his first championship this season, and maybe off the back of this team with amazing rookies, he can get there. Fusion can finally get there. They're looking great this season so far, 2-0, like you've sort of mentioned, but this is probably their first, I would say, kind of real test after Shanghai in some ways. I think Shanghai came in very shaken that first day. I'm not going to take away that win from the Fusion, but now we're getting in sort of the weeds here. Seoul will come in and a lot harder than Shanghai recently, I would say. Seoul, they had a little bit of hiccups very early on. That 2-3, very narrow kind of victory versus LA Valley. It does sting a little bit, but Seoul in their most recent game, I think, looked more than competitive, looked dominant. They destroyed the Chengdu Hunters, and now Seoul on their way to even tougher competition against the Fusion. It's Carpe versus Profit, two of, I think, the most veteran players in all of the Overwatch League. The two first players to reach 10,000 eliminations in the entire Overwatch League.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about, you know, greatest of all time, it's usually these two names that are very much being brought up. A lot of people will obviously, you know, push for Carpe, especially even though he does not have that championship that Profit has behind him, but they are fairly neck and neck as it comes down to those figures like you're talking about. These guys are just record setters. Absolutely incredible in the DPS lineups. And while, like I said, it was a little bit rocky of a start there for Profit, we saw the return. We saw what he can do when he's playing at his peak in that series versus the Chengdu Hunters. Chengdu didn't get to play the game.
No.
He just completely blocked them out of it. We'll see if he can do that here versus some stiff competition with these rookies backing up Carpe.
Last meeting of these teams, 2021, was a 3-1 victory for the Philadelphia Fusion. That was the East play-ins. But the overall record is 5-4 in favor of Seoul. So 9 total meetings, 5-4 in favor of Seoul. Very close, like I said. This is why this rivalry to me is so special. 2 full Korean teams based in Korea as well. We're rolling out on Gardens. It's going to be Reaper Zarya on both ends.
Yep, just going to have those mirrored compositions things. Another person that we haven't really talked about, keep your eyes on, it's going to be Vindame. I was looking absolutely incredible for the side of the Seoul Dynasty. I believe he actually even picked up the player of the match at the end of that one as well. As for now, we just have the neutral skirmishing coming down, both the tanks being focused. Aim God, Anteed out, ends up falling. Prophet gets the kill, but gives his life for it. Carpe does manage to find a little bit of revenge. Zest just getting steadily ticked up here as the point does get locked in for the side of the Seoul Dynasty. See how long it takes, though. It's Creative going to be sent off the side of the map. Fixa coming up with a nice little boot. Plummets the Ana down into the Koi Pond. Now looking to stay alive as Prophet chases in, trying to get the elimination. Fixa being a bit elusive. Prophet gives up on the pursuit, but as Zest goes down, it seems like Seoul Dynasty should be able to hold this for a little while.
It's both the Anas and both the Reapers that, according for our first death so far, accounting for rather. A bit of low HP for, I believe it was Prophet at one point, was saved by their bubble. Visor comes up first for Fitz. Cartby narrowly behind by 1%. 30% so far for Seoul in terms of how their percentage point is going on Gardens. Ultimate's very much going the way of Seoul though. So Nano Visor, if they can get this one up very quickly, God is just enough off that, you know, depends how long we delay this one. The further we delay this one, the more Philadelphia can catch up on ults.
Yeah, they're dangerously close. There's the grab, though. Smurf going to pull the trigger first. Looks like he locks in the Reaper. Gets Fury as well. Sound barriers out from both sides. Now it's going to be the Nano Visors wide for both sides. Everybody working with basically equal footing here, but Carpe manages to find the first kill. Vindame going to be taken down. Now Fury, as they look to extend the fight, does have that grab online. Fitz, okay, now going to be popping the tag visor. He's done it before. Throws it down now to try to dissuade them, try to hold this point in favor of the Seoul Dynasty, where they do continue to tick up, and Smurf finally does end up falling. Prophet going low, gets the kill on the Zesto, manages to disconnect from the fight, pulls back a little bit, but then doesn't have the Wraith Walk to try to keep himself alive. Ends up going down. Spixa will find Creative. The flip is there for the side of the Fusion in control as Vindame's just going to try to escape. Looks like with just a sliver of HP, he will be able to do so. Fury nearly clipping him with that right-click lob in. They will exit. 70% of the board here for the side of the Dynasty. Fusion now ticking up.
It's very low members on both sides. I believe it came down to a 3v2 at one point. All the ultimates got expended, not at the same time though. Fury kept his grab, Smurf used grab early. Smurf was actually the one that received the Nano, so that's how the Nano exchanges went. Prophet's probably looking for Death Blossom here. He's super close, but doesn't actually have it, so as soon as he goes in, he has to back out.
Just pulling away, everybody playing back over across the bridge here into the White Room for the most part, looking and for a moment where they can inch their way into the point here. Prophet now. There's going to be the Death Blossom thrown in, but the Bionade connects, and Carpe just beams him down. The headshots flying through, and Prophet gets evaporated. Not getting much value at all from that ultimate. Now out of the fight, but Fixa picked off earlier before, just now going to be respawning, trying to join in. Carpe, a sliver of HP remaining, but still manages to trade up, gets the kill on to Fitz, stays alive, and now can just hold the visor for the next fight as the Dynasty have to disengage.
Yeah, super big kills coming through there for Fusion. Not only that, but they have extra ultimate suspend as well, so Seoul can't push their luck. They have to reset here. They have to find a way to get past these double DPS ultimates plus the grab as well. And with this anti-nade, we have now Fusion overtaking the Seoul Dynasty in terms of percentage points. And pretty soon, this is going to be last fight territory as well, so Seoul, no time to waste.
No, not at all. Grab online, but the counter grab is available. Bionade already being used here by AimGod. There's the grab. No sound barrier available, but they grab them back. They pull them around the corner, so actually they can't get too much damage in. Now Zest goes forward. Death Blossom will kill Prophet, but Smurf picks up 2 as Fixa and Zest are both now out of the fight. Looking for a little bit more. They will be able to beam down Fury, and it seems like this flip is going to come in right as the Fusion hit 99%. The Dynasty now in control, just looking for some extra staggers, some extra ult charge, but they don't have too much to work with to try to hold this.
I mean, Fusion still have more ultimates coming online, right? The sound barrier is going to be critical in the next fight. Will be probably nano-vised between Fitz and Creative, although Creative is still just a tiny bit off. It's, like you said, just really not that much to work with resource-wise as far as ultimates goes. Fusion have that in the bag, but can they get the right push in? Can they get the right initiation? Nano-visor for them should be the trigger.
They're just going to open with the sound barrier as they rush forward, trying to get in on top of these Dynasty members. That's going to be the attack visor now. Pops Carpe as well with a visor of his own. Looking to gets some kills, falls low, 13
Huge
HP, I
Fitz.
believe, and Fitz finally does finish him off. Gets the kill there with the Helix Rockets, picking up multiple. That is going to be the fight one. The flip coming back here for the side of the Seoul Dynasty, and given that everybody's dead, it is a team wipe. They will not be able to touch this point and extend it into OT. So Dynasty, right here, the last few moments, pull the rug out from beneath the Fusion and take the first round of Garden.
Yeah, but I would say that Fusion maybe entered that arena and kind of stepped on the rug, kind of cross-footed anyway, because they used the sound barrier to get positioning initially. Seoul play patiently. They disengage, even they're willing to give up the point, because once they get past the sound barrier, it comes down to which team executes off their nano visor in a more valuable kind of way. Carpe and Zest with Aimgod's nano visor, they go in first, and then the response comes through from Fitz. So Fitz ends up kind of out-dueling Carpe in that regard. The one big advantage is that Fixer had a sound barrier, so you could have probably countered the nanovisor in some ways with the sound barrier, but yeah, they used that one to engage. I do wonder, maybe they could have saved that one. Could they have managed to get onto point without it? That's going to be a question that doesn't get answered, unfortunately, and, well, Philadelphia Fusion, they pay the price.
Well, very different looks now where we were mirrored before we come into this second round of Command Center now. Smurf moving over to the Reinhardt, Prophet back over onto the Meg. Support's otherwise going to stay the same. We've got Genji, Reaper as well here, backing up Fury, Zarya on the side of the Fusion. Carpe already dead, though. Creative finding a nice pick, throws down that Bionade, gets the elimination. And Smurf looking for position, goes in with the charge, not going to be able to get a pin. Blocks the Bionade, now gets in on top of Aimgod, where Vinheim can go ahead and scoop the kill.
We've seen this look out of Smurf before as well, right? Because first of all, he is a main tank player, but we kind of talked in previous Seoul matches where he does play a bit of tank roulette. Here, I think the Rhine is more than just viable on this particular map of Control Center, but it has a pretty positive matchup into the Zarya as well. So that's going to be something that for the side of Fusion, they need to be a little bit concerned about. Zest coming through on the Genji should be pretty valuable, but up against both Mei and Rhine, it could be tricky.
See, like you said, we've seen him play it before, but typically it hasn't lasted too long. This is a significantly better start for them with the Reinhardt. In pole position to go ahead and maybe take this 2-0. Still plenty to be played out, though, as it's 30% coming online here for the side of the Dynasty, and Carpe is dead. Prophet sniping him in the skull there with a right click, it would seem. Looking for a little bit more spots. Zest playing around that Mega Pack up on the high ground. Vinheim tries to pursue to get the elimination, but Zest is actually going to cut him down. Now a support out of the fight. Creative falling low. He's going to pop the nano in his dying breath, but Zest goes in, gets that kill. Sleep Dart connects on the Smurf. They're not finding too much value here. Fusion now getting ready to try to flip this point. Zest tucking back into the corner, falls low, gets a little bit of healing up, and now the Dragon Blade is online. They have the nano to go with it as well if they decide to pull the trigger, but it seems like they might not need it in this fight. Another Sleep Dart finds Prophet. Smurf taken down before then. Vinheim out of the fight. The flip will come through for the Fusion, and this Dragon Blade crucially is held onto.
This is like 4 kills for Zest, including 2 onto Vinheim here as well. I'm not too sure where Vinheim was. Maybe like you were saying, he probably could have just overcommitted. He probably did overcommit and got punished by Zest, who then cleans up Creative as well, who was low HP. The Sleep Dart from Aimgod, incredible to land on Smurf. That was such a wasted fight for the Seoul Dynasty when they were otherwise so ahead. They got a free kill from Prophet onto Carpe, and that 5v4 instantly disappeared.
Not in position to try to take the fight, so the Fusion to make the call, just give up the point. They flip it back over. That's 70% now online here for the side of the Dynasty. They're going to try to utilize these ultimates to take this back and start building up a bit of a lead here, but 4 ultimates on either side about to be online. Vinheim maybe taking a nap. Zest gets on top of him again. That's going to be the nano out onto him, and he still doesn't pull the blade. He gets the kill on a Creative, and Zest is just absolutely wreaking havoc in the back lines. Smurf, though, still managing to find 2. Got the pin kill, now drops the hammer, cleans up the supports as well, and the Dynasty might just be able to flip this back. That being said, it is only the supports playing around the point. Fusion have retaken control.
And because Vinheim's been dead so often in this particular sub-map, he doesn't have the sound barrier yet, so can't really do good enough a job of protecting himself. Zest again opens up into the backline, double smoke kills, absolutely massive, despite Fusion vacating the point. They come in really powerful there, and the superstar rookie Zest once again paying up.
Bit of a drive visor coming through. The grab will lock them in place. Just looking for any targets that he can get. Sound barrier now used from Vinheim. And now the blade will be pulled from Zest as the shielding expires. Gets in on top of Fitz. Gets Vinheim. That's 2 for him. Yet again, just continues to absolutely devastate the ranks of the Seoul Dynasty. The fight is won. The Fusion maintain control. Now they're getting ready to surpass the charge here on the point.
And Smurf's gone over towards Zarya, so, you know, we talked about the fact that he did give up on the Rhine the last time we saw this, and now he stayed on the Rhine for quite a long time. Most of the sub-map, he's gone over towards that Zarya, does help out Prophet on towards the Sweeper, just that much better. Carpe with the big flank to take down Prophet.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was trying to get set up for, you know, a really big Death Blossom, but instead just goes right in there, finds the kill. Now will TP forward, and there is the massive Blossom that he was looking for. 2 kills as the supports fall down, and now at 92%, the Fusion are looking to knock down the Dynasty here and tie it up 1-1 on the Zhang Tower. A final fight as Smurf is desperately going to be swapping over to the Doomfist. Someone's got to get the touch. Looks like Prophet, just at the last second, will manage to make it happen. They have a nano boost, and that is about it, and then they can't get back into the point in time. It will just tick up to 100% here, as the Fusion will extend this to one final round.
It's good gatekeeping there by Fixer as well to make sure the last 2 members coming on in. We're going to get Boot back. We're not going to be able to touch in time. I really hazard to think what would happen if Seoul ended up touching anyway. It seemed like the fight was not going to go their way. Plenty more to play through from the Fusion side of things, but my goodness, outside of the fact that, you know, we'll start with that one very critical fight, you know, a couple fights in where Seoul had the 5v4. Vindane, I think he probably overcommitted, didn't quite see his positioning, but punished by Zest nonetheless, who then converts onto creative. And he does that 2 fights in a row with Zest. Solo takes down both the supports of the Seoul Dynasty, and that just gives Fusion so much snowball on that particular map and bring us to a 1-1.
Yep, Zest kind of be pounding right now. We'll see if he can keep it up. Try to get this map win in for the Fusion. The Dynasty are going to be able to pull the rug out yet again. Here on Tonight Market, but in the daytime. As the Helix rockets go flying, just going to be beating Smurf's shield. So the initial chip damage not getting too much as far as the ult charge is concerned, but for now Carpe is outpacing Fitz. But will be fairly neck and neck. Point now going to be unlocked. The team start making their way around. Outside route here for the side of the Fusion. In off the flank. As the Dynasty just get themselves up through main. Wraith Walk already used here from the side of Zest. As he just tries to poke and prod his way into the point, but the Dynasty will manage to get this cap. But now Creative goes down. Carpe finding the enemy. Ana gets that elimination, but Vinheim getting his hands dirty, getting a little bit of revenge here. As Zest was punching him so much, he goes forward, gets that kill, gets another one as he sends Aimgod off the side of the map. That is the bloodthirsty Lucio play that we like to see. The bubbles come up here, Fury making sure that he does not get displaced, but will get a punch to the skull at the very end of it as Vindheim finds 3 in the extended fight.
And ultimately, when you look towards the Seoul Dynasty, they had slightly better positioning coming through from main instead of from coast side on the sides, right? So despite Carpe picking up the first frag, Seoul pulled the trigger nice and early, get the counter frag. Vindane goes extra hard. Zest back on the Genji. He knows what his carry pick is. It is technically better in the composition to play the Reaper, but I think for Zest specifically, he's so good on the Genji that this is definitely the better pick for Fusion.
Going to be used. Bubble goes out to him as he just pulls away, gets that Mega Pack. Aimgod and Fury both going to be anteed out, trying to survive. Have to pull back around the corner. Vinheim now dropping the beat as they take the fight over to the side of the Fusion. They go charging forward with the Tac Visor. Looking for a target. Zest isolated off the side of the map. The boot comes in. Vinheim gets Aimgod yet again. Zest will fall. Dynasty completely and utterly in control. 65% now accrued.
And this is a read coming through from Seoul where they're saying, okay, we know Vindame has multiple final blows here. He should be ahead to fix it. If we sound barrier in a tempo way, Fusion cannot respond with their own sound barrier. We do that plus the Visor, that's going to be enough for a fight win. Now, Fusion have more ultimates. They can and should win this fight, but Seoul are playing for the long game. If Seoul can drag this one out to 99%, they should be able to overwhelm with ultimates on a future fight.
Just around the corner here is Smurf. Spots Fury, says, yeah, good enough target as any.
Sound
There's
barrier
the grab. Fitz will get the kill. Sound barrier comes in, and it's not early enough there. Fixa cannot try to keep them alive. Zest, though, doing his damnedest, manages to find one, but now Fixa is out of the fight. Prophet with the Death Blossom finds that elimination. Zest and Carpe are both gone, and they cannot even touch this point. It's one last poop off the side of the map there for Aimgod, as the Dynasty will sweep the last round 100% to 0. Fusion barely able to play on the point at any given moment there. Dynasty just continue to step to them. They get the eliminations. They get the map win, kicking things off 1-0 in the series.
And really impressive as well, considering what happened there on Control Center. Didn't look very clean for Seoul. I noted, you know, again, potentially over-pushing mistakes there. unable to use the 5v4. You could maybe make the same argument here when Carpe managed to kill Creative, but Fusion still fell over in the 5v4 anyway. But Seoul played the tempo game of that night market so perfectly in terms of understanding where their exact leads were, understanding how to play their specific positional advantage. I mean, Vindane only gets to be able to do that on Lucio with those boop kills when you're coming through main up against a team that's hiding on coast. If you're flipping the positions, Fixer can't do that to Seoul, right? So Seoul, they had the advantage basically the entire way through on that final round. So really good to see the bounce back there. But a close game so far. 1-2 into the scoreline in terms of that first opening map. I think it's competitive.
No, absolutely is. I mean, so much back and forth throughout there. Just that last round, pretty much the only thing that looked a bit different, but there's still moments for the side of the Fusion. They're clearly alive. They're still very clearly focused in on the game. We'll see if they can tie it up 1-1 with Dorado on the horizon. That's going to be coming up in just a few minutes, folks. We'll be right back. And welcome back. I was almost muted there for a second, but I caught it, so it doesn't count, Avril. No mistakes here on my end. But some mistakes on the side of the Fusion's end, and they end up losing that first map. Dynasty taking it, looking quite strong, but both of these teams going to be batting heads this whole series throughout. Excited to see if this ends up getting tied up, though. We've got Dorado coming up next for Escort, and I think we also have some substitutions that'll be popping up at the bottom of your screen here in just a moment.
Yeah, we'll see what those are. I think for Escort, you do see very specific substitutions. It's a hit scan heavy map, but Philadelphia Fusion have a couple of extra plays that they can swing in and out. Very opening map, though. Again, I'll just echo my own thoughts from what we had previously. Very close affair. MN3 now coming in for Carpe. Some fans might think that's a little bit confusing, but MN3 is so damn good on the snipers. Fusion are very much trusting in the rookie player to handle the snipers for this particular map, and the Bellasria coming in for, I think, the Winston for this particular map as well. But a big talking point of that last map was Zest being the hero on Control Center, pulling out the Genji, getting multiple frags. You can see that Fusion aren't maybe quite comfortable enough to play a full Soldier Reaper, or rather, instead of maybe saying comfortable, I could probably have said that they just much prefer having Zest on the Genji, and you can see why. The Zest Genji has so much more output than you would normally expect in a comp like that, which usually really requires a Reaper and the Zarya combo to work together to get the full value, but that just didn't really happen again on Night Market, where, the same hero plays didn't come out of Zest. Probably shouldn't be the type of team that needs hero plays anyway, but it saved them on Control Center, could not save them on Night Market.
No, it certainly could not, but we'll see here with this new lineup here after the swaps, if this is going to be good enough for the side of the Fusion to get that tie up here on Dorado. Bellasria, like you said, probably coming in for the Winston. Well, he is playing against one of the new age OGs, I guess I should say, in Smurf, who has proven to be one of the best, if not the best Winstons in the world. So if he's deciding to pilot that, definitely Bellasria has his work cut out for him to try to get the better of the side of the Seoul Dynasty.
Smurf being your only tank here has to be Mr. Flexible. Saw him on, I know a couple of them were just kind of desperation heroes, but like 3 different tanks on Control Center, including the Doom that he rolled up on towards the end to try and touch. But the Winston versus Winston battle is what we're expecting here. Fitz to go into a sniper here, so Fitz versus MN3. So in terms of rookie power for the Philadelphia Fusion, this is it in kind of full force. Now, your only veteran force on this kind of team lineup is Aim God, Fixer, Bellasria, Zest, and MN3, 4 rookies. It's kind of, in some ways, reminds me of the Shock normal lineups where you have Violet and 4 rookies. Right here, it's Aim God and the 4 rookies. Bellasria has had some pretty good performances so far. He normally comes on like a push kind of map. You could have probably played Fury here too if you want to stick to the Zarya, but it does seem like Fusion, as well as Smurf having to play the Winston here, both value the high ground, low ground without having to rely on the Diva.
Gates getting ready to unlock. Fitz for now on the Widowmaker, likely to stick through with this for an extended period of time. We've seen plenty of Widow play here on this map. Zest on the Tracer. See if he can get in on top of people. Already a nice little dink sent out there onto Bellasria as he jumps up onto the high ground. Fitz now searching for another target. Spots the Winston again. Couple tags. Let's try to get rid of that armor, which they now have managed to do. Bellasria falling low. Has to jump up onto the high ground here and receive some TLC from Aim God, who is more than happy to build up that nano boost a little bit faster.
MN3 also starting out on Ash here. Probably not as, no less grievances than what we see on King's Row. This is a much better map overall for Ash in terms of the control that you can have and the value of the Bob that brings for an escort. So, focusing on payload push so far, it's pretty decent. We're already underneath the archway. You have an opening pick from Smurf as well. 5v4 looking decent.
Yep, making their way into the market now as Aim God going to be taken down. Smurf falling a little bit low, leaps up into the air, manages to stabilize. The heals start coming through. Dynamite point blank, but doesn't really give a damn about that. Shield bash from Vindheim will finish off MN3, and that should be the cap coming through now for point A for the Dynasty. Only takes them about a minute or so to make this happen, so the time bank is going to be absolutely massive. And
technically only one fight as well, and most of that comes down to the fact that they were able to get such unimpeded payload push the entire way. You saw very little kind of, attempt by the Philadelphia Fusion to slow that payload down at all. They couldn't really force any fights. They were the ones first blooded, couldn't swing anything back from the 4v5 scenario. They will start with the high ground, but Fitz will instantly delete him in 3, so the high ground controls already start to lag.
Yeah, and he only just swapped over, and now Fitz about to have that infra sight. He does. Prophet in the meantime got himself into the back lines. Gets pulse bomb stick there onto Aim God, finds the elimination. Zest trying to duke it out with him, has to take the recall out, but does have a pulse of his own to try to open up a defense here on this cart. Big target, like somebody like Vinheim would be massive, but MN3, okay. Now getting in the groove of things, gets a nice headshot there on a Prophet.
Good read as well to sort of maybe know that Prophet was going to go for a flanking play, or that somebody was, but the problem still is, look at the payload still pushing nearly under the archway again. I mean, they could be in final fight territory for B in just a few moments here. And interestingly enough as well, MN3 goes Widow here, when actually the Ashe is probably better here than Ashe on A, but Widow just might be better on both, and he feels better on that.
Trying to get that instant pop. Works on a Prophet. See if he can find much more success like that. MN3 falling low. Bellisria was taking a nap for just a moment. Now the ante goes out onto him, so he's got to pop the Primal. Smurf in the meantime, deep in enemy territory, going to be taking a nap, and he's going to be left on the ground dead as Fixa will just group up with the rest of the team and get that elimination through. Bellisria trying to retake the high ground, falls a bit low. Gets a little zap in onto Fitz. Cheeky zap as the rest of the players are currently contained inside of the bank and may struggle to try to exit. So
that
trying
death
to take
is
the
going
high ground,
to
actually, but
really cost Seoul now because they actually rally in. So they want to commit. This is going to be a lost fight with the rally.
yeah, Vinheim just trying to keep he and Smurf alive so he can exit back over, rejoin in with the rest of the team as the respawns do come through. Zest in the meantime on the hunt. He's looking for Fitz. Looks like he does spot him. Really risky to swing that corner, and he's going to be grateful that that was not a headshot. Took him down to 17 HP. The recall now going to be forced. Cart currently sat just in front of point B, but the time bank is still very healthy for the side of the Dynasty.
You can just see the value that the Widowmakers are bringing here. That was definitely a fight that Seoul wanted to take. Vinheim popped the rally at the same time as MN3 getting the kill, and now Prophet will be the first one to open that. Smurf still has a Primal, by the way, so they can definitely flex their ult advantage here if they can, at least in that tank department.
Yep, gets that elimination there. The main tank broken down. Bellisria going to try to join in. Nano boost out onto Zest. He gets the pulse bomb available now as you see the harassment coming through into the back line. Onto the Widowmaker, and Smurf will be able to juggle him around for the kill. Now leaps back in, looking for Aim God, who desperately needs some help. Shield Bash not going to connect. They can't push him away. And Smurf continues the limit test here inside of this last bit of the point here on Dorado. Falls low, waits out the ante, 47 health on him. Leaps back over to the cart, drops the bubble, continues to go aggressive because he trusts in his supports, and they've got his back. Aim God just holding the cart for now as much as he possibly can, but Smurf will finally get those final two eliminations. The cart crests over point B, and now it's 3 minutes and 35 seconds remaining to try to finish the map.
That was some of the best critical health management that we've seen so far as well, because you have Smurf dancing in the bubble to perfection, support still keeping him up. He's tied up both the supports, by the way, of the Philadelphia Fusion, so both Fixa and Aim God have nothing to do except to look at Smurf. They can't help the rest of their team, and Smurf is still alive the entire time. Fitz gets another opening frag, and that's just going to be more free push.
Aim God out of the fight there. Fitz looking for another target, seeing if somebody's going to come leaping over the top of this barrier. MN3, I mean, they see each other. It gives a cheeky little wave. Not much to be done about it, though. Be quite aggressive if he wants to go up over the left side. Goes for a little pop shot, but only finds Bellisria, who's now going to be leaping into the back.
Committing.
Looking to maybe get that Widowmaker or Creative. But he's taking a nap. Here comes the rush over from everybody. Pop that Primal now to try to stay alive, and oh no, it is backfired. Creative instead. He thought he laid the trap, but he fell right into it as it got sprung. Ends up dying as Zest dives in, swapping over to the Genji, getting the elimination. Find a second as Vinheim will also fall. And Philly Fusion playing this out to perfection. It would seem great, collapsing in from the roster.
Well, they certainly were forced into that situation. You know, I think playing the best of the moment is something I would describe as potentially perfect, but they were forced into a poor moment because Bellisria hard commits, Creative sleeps with the Bionet, forces the Primal Rage. I mean, Bellisria can't afford to die there because, once again, payload positioning is so good for Seoul. They're not focusing objective here. Bellisria is going for a backline, so it means that, okay, well, we can sack this fight. We are going to lose this fight because they are going to fight. We're not going to commit anything, but we are going to get maximum payload push now, and we have ult advantage for what could be the final fight. And that's the kind of macro that Seoul are going to get a huge amount of advantage with.
Piano gets used, but Vinheim still going to be focus fired. Zest as well energized there. Cart, however, in the meantime, is progressing. They have to dive in. There's a jump forward. Cart now just a couple meters away from completion. Still a minute and a half in the clock. Prophet looking for a target. Would love to get Fixa out of the fight here if he possibly could, but Zest looks like maybe a deflect headshot there on the Fitz. Doubles down to get Smurf as well. Big numbers here from the rookie on the Genji. Continues to excel with this pick.
And we need to see Fusion get as many of these as possible to kind of build up their own ult bank again. Seoul have been ahead on ults for a wee while now on C, probably for the majority of C, I would actually say. With 1 minute left to go though, Seoul are kind of still looking for that one and done fight, but the longer this goes for and the less trades that Seoul are able to get, the more that Fusion actually even up on ultimates, and it starts to become unclear now, because if Seoul actually lose this fight, and I assume they will probably commit a lot of ultimates here, they might not cap if they commit and lose.
Certainly is possible. They're diving in, they're looking for aim god, there's the stick, there's the pick. Massive here for Prophet, now they look to get the Widowmaker, but Prophet under fire, has to run away. As Fixit tries to get on top of it, Fitz now going to be taken out of the fight. The bio is massive, and yeah, 3 HP, waits it out, dashes to the side, grabs the health pack. Smurf in the meantime, Primal going to expire. Needs to try to rejoin the fight, and he does, helping to Goomba stomp kill. They're on to Zest. And with the pickoffs coming through, it's all on Aim God. He just respawned, he can't touch the cart. They will manage to finish the map here with 26 seconds remaining. Yep. So not nearly as bad as it was looking at the beginning, given that there was 3.5 minutes for this last attack. But you know, the teams can really come up the works there on that approach to C. It's well done there by the Fusion to buy as much time as they did.
And, you know, Seoul for having done the footwork and the groundwork to already have the payload in a one-and-done position, knowing that it was going to be last fight. Certainly it was going to be the most important fight, because, again, if they don't actually win that fight with the ultimates after committing, they just don't cap. It doesn't matter that there's another fight afterwards in the OT. They're not going to cap it afterwards, because there's just no way you get past the defender spawn advantage. But Prophet opening up with the pulse bomb there. Creative landing the Bio to Zest, basically shoving out the only major comeback tool that the Fusion were going to have in terms of Zeth popping off again, using the Dragon Blade, doing Zest things. But if he's not in the fight, if he's on 3 HP, he's as good as dead. He's looking for a health pack. He's not able to really help at all. In Seoul Dynasty, they'll find everybody else that they need. So looking over towards that sort of C push overall. You know, I think we're on the same page in terms of Fusion being able to shave that timer down by quite a significant amount. But Seoul, again, from a macro perspective, did such a great job of prioritizing payload and understanding, you know, which ultimates they could sacrifice to not use and kind of force ultimates out of Fusion instead.
5, 4, 3.
Well, no defensive Widowmaker here. Fitz just going to be going back over to the Soldier 76. MN3 out the gate, though, of course, going to be piloting the sniper. See if he can find some early action, early picks to have just as successful of a push, but sends one off there into Viname's shield, and looks like he may reposition, may swap. Still sitting inside of the spawn room. Looks like the Widowmaker will stick around at least for now.
Yeah, the offensive Widowmaker here should be a better matchup than a defensive version, so both teams have not opted for a defensive Widowmaker on A. You'll probably see that over towards B. Certainly A, Fitz is feeling more consistency on the Soldier, and definitely needs to look for a situation where he can Visor, use it, then swap a little later on. Opening bio catches 2 though, and that'll slow Fusion down.
And on 2 there is MN3 just trying to get Smurf out of the air like he's a clay pigeon.
Smurf low.
Managed to make it, but yeah, Smurf still limit testing his HP. How long can I stick around in these fights? Falls low, has to back off. Prophet taking a big tag as well. Holds the recall, just gives that healing over as Creative tries to surge and catch up to Aim God for this nano boost charge. Prophet, though, they get on top of Zest, punish the Genji. Opens up the back line a lot more here. Creative and Vindheim can now breathe a little bit easier. As Prophet, a little overzealous there on that wraparound. MN3 really sussed it out, managed to get that elimination. Huge opening now as we enter into the underpass.
They find out where MN3 is. Prophet's like, well, he's playing over towards left side, got that one under lock. Prophet will be back in due time, though. This is going to come down to an ultimate fight, very simple. Aim God and Creative very close to the nanos. Creative props him for shutting down Zest again. I caught that Baronet that put Zest down in 1. And here's that first nano available. Aim God can just pull the trigger now, honestly. Just a dry one to Zest will even do.
Yep, nano's out. Zest going into the back. Gets the kills as the supports fall down. Smurf now going to be taking a nap. Doesn't have the primal to get in on top of him. They get those eliminations through. And with Fitz as the last one standing, he's got nowhere to go. So the point A cap will come in. It's going to be about 4.5 minutes now in the time bank here for the side of the Fusion. So already off to a nice start. Dragon Blade nearly available, and they have the Infrasight.
And this is where Seoul probably just want to get really aggressive, right? Because Fitz is already on that nano. He's not going to give up the Visor now. He would like to probably go Widowmaker, but this is where you have to nano Visor through, hope that you can overpower the Blade. And then if Fitz dies, he swaps over to Widow, all as well. At minimum, you're going to start forcing ultimates out of the Fusion. Both Blade and Primal can be used in response to the nano Visor.
Smurf trying to stop Zest from getting access to that flank high ground. Can't really manage to do it. Has to join in with the rest of the squad as Bellisria just jumping up, saying hello for just a moment. Dive into the back line. Smurf dangerously low, pops the primal, the sleep goes out. Prophet, though, does manage to capitalize. It's a nice little double play there from the side of the Seoul Dynasty, getting that elimination, taking MN3 out of the fight. Now Smurf, after waking up, finishes off Belos Ria as well. Pops right back up top. And it's a nice little takeaway here for the side of the Dynasty.
Expensive though, 3 ultimates for 1 there. Belos Ria, the only one that actually used an ult on the side of Fusion, so they still retain.
Yep.
Notably the Blade. Okay, the Infra Sight's not as valuable, but it will at least, give you full information on where Prophet is, so that limits Prophet's mobility in this next fight. And they'll be able to get a lot of payload movement off the back of that one, and probably push Prophet really far away as well.
They're looking for him. Got him zoned into that courtyard just off the left side, and now he's getting tagged up. Looks like the recall does get popped. Prophet's still just skirmishing, nearly has that pulse bomb. He's doing a hell of a lot of damage, but will fall moments before he can get the ult online. Now the contention comes in for the high ground. Belos Ria and Zest both poking and prodding up top. Creative going down. MN3 with a great headshot gets rid of the enemy Ana. And that really opens up this point B approach now for the side of the Fusion.
Yeah.
See how far they can take it. For now, the cart going to be contested in the underpass, but it starts moving yet again.
I mean, this is going to have to come down to the final fight on B because they're still waiting for Creative. Good stick from Prophet though.
Massive little dive in from him. Blade now going to be pulled, but Zest is instantly taken low. Grabs the mini pack. The blade has to be sheathed. Doesn't find too much value there with Aim God just now respawning and Fixa getting picked. These are great staggers for the side of the Seoul Dynasty after they already won the fight.
And that's double support ultimates popped and overlaid for the side of Fusion as well. I mean, there's no real issue with overlaying ultimates, but Zest being forced out instantly, and this is what Seoul are doing so well in this series so far, minus the control center map, is they've managed to put a lot of pressure onto Zest so that he doesn't have as many opportunities to actually pop off. He's constantly low. The entire team of Seoul Dynasty are constantly looking at him. They know he's a carry player on this team. They know that he's the biggest threat. So if you shut Zest down, you shut down most of the threat coming out from the Philadelphia Fusion, and now they're out of ultimates, minus the primal that's coming up, but what? Smurf's got one as well, so it doesn't really matter for Belos Ria just yet. Time is still okay. Payload positioning is decent, but Seoul Dynasty are currently in control.
Yeah, and they're going to have that nano visor up here in just a bit as Fitz just 15% away. Zapping away is Smurf looking for a target. Fitz, though, as I mentioned, him is going to end up falling. They will make that a 1-for-1, but now everybody grouped up. He gets him into the corner. He's trying to juggle him around, but the sleep dart is crucial. Absolutely massive there from the side of Aim God, but now Creative gets up front with the rest of the squad. Anti-Nate goes out, manages to catch onto 3. Aim God ending up falling, but Fixa comes up with 2 kills, takes down Prophet as well as Vindane.
Wow.
To Smurf, though, holding the door, just keeping them locked in. The primal now pop, but Belos Ria going to be taking a nap. Creative in his dying breath managed to find that sleep dart. Card being inched forward yet again with just a minute remaining. The Dynasty still have so many tools to try to shut this down. The pulse bomb about to come up, and if Prophet can get another stick, it's going to be massive.
I mean, they still have the visor playthrough as well. Smurf has been playing out of his mind, by the way. I mean, we talk about him limit testing, but really he's at the absolute limit. He's redlining this vehicle, but Fusion can't do anything about it. Prophet again gets a stick on Aim God. He's landed so many of those today.
I don't think he's missed one yet. 3 HP, man, doesn't have the recall, does not care. Right around the corner is Vindham with the health packs. They go ahead, top him back up. Zest trying to contest that flank. Looks like he moves his way into the church there for a moment as Prophet chunks him out. They have a little bit of a skirmish, and 30 seconds now remain on the clock for the side of the Fusion. Yeah, 4 ults ready to go. We'll have that Nano Blade. They will have the rally rolling. They try to keep everybody else alive, but they have to get this capped. Then they have to finish the map.
The other ultimates barely matter here because Infrasight's okay. The double support ultimates are good, but really it's the Nano plus the Visor that they require to win. If that doesn't work for them, if Zest is shut down again, if he eats a single Bionade, that could be the push over. Zest has got to go large.
Well, they are on the cart. They start inching it forward. Prophet just eating that Venom Mine. Pops the recall, continuing to harass. There's the Dragon Blade out.
He's
finds
gone
one, finds 2. The supports are out of the fight, and that should be good enough. He's still going to be looking for more. Prophet skirmishing with MN3, but Zest comes in from behind with the Shurikens. Gets the right-click elimination for 3 kills for him in the fight. Smurf now, as the bubble will expire, ends up falling. And they get a second lease on life here due to the Fusion. A minute and a half added to the time bank. The Rally, the only ult left standing for them. Can they finish the map, and can they do it with time left on the clock? That is the question.
You see how quickly Zest just goes for Creative as well, because he knows that Creative is the biggest force that actually shuts him down. Belos Ria also shuts down the Visor as well, so Fusion, they spread in terms of knowing where their priority targets were. Fitz can't do anything with Visor because Belos Ria's in his face with a bubble. Zest is free to play the entire map once Creative is down, and then when, Zest is called to duty, he answers that call perfectly. Smurf now slept. We'll see what kind of distance we can get.
Okay, well, Prophet is mortal. He can miss sticks. It would seem a little bit of a panic one there from him as M3 swapped over to the cast, and he goes rolling forward with the Bionade. Connects at his feet. He and him got instantly taken out of the fight, and this needs to be a reset right here, right now for the side of the Fusion. They've only got 40 seconds to spare.
Yeah, ultimate's being burnt there, you know, both the Rally and the Primal to make sure that they have control. Control is so important here because you cannot allow Fusion to actually snowball, so overspending ultimates is definitely worth it for the Seoul Dynasty to make sure that they have defensive pressure. Now, Prophet, even on the back line, is going to have to give up that positioning, but a Nano coming on through. This one, I think, should probably go into Smurf. He's been playing so well off the back of these Nanos that Smurf on this Nano can probably win them the map right here.
Prophet's
Unless Prophet
through
dies.
the big opener. Yeah, the whole anti out onto the supports that will expire. Nano boost used by Green to him just to make sure that he can stay alive in the fight. Yeah, they just want to keep him alive, and they do so. They chew up the rest of the members here of the Fusion. The push back there onto Zest. They get the finisher, and it's just Belosria. He's got the Primal. He's going to try to buy some time here as much as he possibly can. Fixa swapping over to the Lucio now. Belosria just focus fired. Nobody around. Fixa will tag in onto the cart here at the very last second to try to extend this, but as they work their way through to this final stretch of the map, the cart will be left barren. Fusion cannot keep it going. They cannot finish the map, and they cannot tie up the series. It is now a 2-0 lead for the Seoul Dynasty.
And I think, you know, so far, especially on this map, but even on the previous map, Smurf has been the leading charge man for the Seoul Dynasty. I think he's the best player in the lobby so far in terms of the impact that he's brought to the table. Obviously, when we look at plays like this and, you know, Zesp going off on the Nano blade, it only really happened the one time, though. He definitely had a bit more of a struggled game because of the amount of targeting coming through from the Seoul Dynasty to get Zest down specifically. Prophet landing a ton of sticks onto Angot as well definitely helps, but yeah, I mean, the fact that Smurf is kind of unkillable, he is in a situation where he plays critical HP so effectively, and Seoul Dynasty are finding it difficult to get around him. I mean, that's been a huge factor on this, as well as just the fact that I think for Seoul's macro gameplay, understanding where to prioritize positioning and how to play those ultimates and play that economy so that they're ahead in the economy has been just that much better than Fusion so far.
Yeah, well, need to dig deep now, do the Fusion in a position to try to reverse sweep if they want to get that third win. We know how competitive these guys have been in the past, and even in these first two maps, they certainly have their moments, but unfortunately, it has not resulted in any map victories so far. We'll see if they can make it happen. We'll see if they can extend this series as we get ready to go into Midtown next for our hybrid map, or if the Seoul Dynasty will continue to just absolutely dominate and get a 3-0 sweep. We're going to continue in just a few minutes, so do not go anywhere.
Sniper, be careful.
Alrighty, welcome back, guys. We're going into what could be the last map of this series already. The Dynasty, the strong push at the start of Dorado, deny that final cap from coming through for the Fusion, so we do not get extra innings. We just see them move up 2-0. Now they're looking for the clean sweep. We'll see if they can get it as we turn our sights over to Midtown.
And potential for more substitutions for the side of, and here it comes in now, Carpe for
Yep.
MN3 for the side of Fusion. Fury potentially here as well because we're onto more of a flat kind of map. I think the Zarya gameplay could be a little bit more stable for the side of the Fusion. Going into that kind of Winston mirror, you did see the veterancy of Smurf just come through and kind of diff Bellisria. Bellisria is a rookie, Smurf's a two-time champion, one of the best Winston players we've had historically, so probably not a huge surprise there, but Seoul definitely had Fusion under their thumb that entire Dorado. That's got to change now heading into Midtown.
All right, well, a necessary reverse sweep here for the side of the Fusion if they want to keep the perfect record alive. Otherwise, the Dynasty going to be looking to overtake and move up into that first place spot here in the APAC region. Quite firmly with a 3-1 record to kick things off. We'll go into Midtown, which I believe this is the first time you and I have gotten to commentate this map.
Yeah, we didn't get this one last week. I think it maybe wasn't the pool or something, just wasn't the scheduled map. But heading in here, I think there's the opportunity for maybe Zest to play some more of the Genji. It's the interesting sacrifice in this trifecta of 3 DPSs, right? You have Reaper, Genji, Soldier, and one of them you cannot play. And in a meta where Zarya is so prevalent, Fury wants to play the Zarya. That's the reason he's been subbed in here. But between Carpe and Zest, they will have to give up one of those 3 power picks that does go well with the Zarya. And honestly, giving up any of those doesn't feel great, but what you do probably want to see is Zest continuing to play the Genji. Let me bring up a couple of stats for you. Zest, number 1 in final blows per 10 minutes, across the board out of 24 total players. Number 2 in eliminations of hero damage per 10 minutes out of a total of 24 players. So this is like all Genji players, basically. So this guy is heavily performing at the highest of the high levels as far as that hero goes. Probably won't expect the Sojourn here, don't get baited by that one, but yeah, Zest he knows where his bread is buttered here, so he's going to come out straight away on that Genji, and they will sacrifice the Reaper. It's a 4-man Baronet, but that just means 11% ult charge for Creative.
That it does. Really nice way to start that off, as he's just going to be hugging back here. More in towards point B. Not going to be holding platform outside of the train there. Everybody just staying over towards the
no more Soldier.
fire station.
Whatever. So there it is. In some ways, I think this is a decent pairing for Zarya because two good bubble targets here. You definitely want a Reaper with your Zarya if you can help it, so they'll give away the Soldier instead. Fitz will have long-range domination here with not a lot to challenge him.
Oh, for now, slow and steady, waiting for their opportunity. That's going to be the TP up here into the window. As Carpe looks to displace Fitz. It's a decent little bit of damage into him, and he's just going to Wraith Walk out of there. Play this safe. Make sure that he's staying decently connected here to the rest of his squad.
Look at Angel's ult.
Falling low there for just a moment. Yeah, he's actually almost has it online. 10% left to go for the Nano as Carpe's trying to kill off Vindheim. Can't quite make it happen yet, but as he comes out of the Wraith Walk, will get Fitz for his troubles. Fitz out of the fight. Fix it does get traded back as they start ticking up here on the point, but it's not that heavy of a commit yet from the side of the Fusion.
It's not a tick yet either.
Make sure that keep tabs.
Yeah, Soul's back here, so you need to see this Nano Boost come out from Aim God very quickly now. That's the one big advantage they have. Creative is still missing quite a lot of it. And comes out on Zest, but they lose a player.
For a second, I thought Fitz is just missing every shot to Carpe, but or rather onto Zest, but he was actually aiming for Carpe behind him. Nano in, but the sleep, the anti, everybody assassinates Zest. A tick and a half here built up for the side of the Fusion, but it seems like they're going to have to reset and go again. The cleanup comes through. Dynasty play this slow and patiently. They get everybody grouped up. They find their picks, and they strike all at once.
And I think the silent carry of this team in many ways is Creative, and you know some of the stuff he does isn't entirely flashy, but when he gets those sleeps, his ability to land these critical sleeps time and time again is unbelievable. I mean, you go back to previous series that he's had, you look at that the Hangzhou series as well, the Ali Valiant series, his ability to land these sleeps is unbelievable. So here he shuts down Zest, he's been the key member shutting down Zest, and Prophet has been the key member shutting down Aim God, and it's a double on both supports.
Oh, I mean, he just makes it look so easy. Man just dashes in. I mean, granted, yeah, their attention was driven over towards the point. He comes in off the flank, but the fact that he gets both as well, absolutely massive stuff here. There's Carpe now
Oh, this could be a
Stuck
stagger.
in a hallway. He's going to try to get out. Tries to go for the TP and can't quite make it happen. So that's just a further stagger here for the side of the Fusion, who are starting to really become in danger of being full health.
And that's not because Carpe overcommitted. He was there because, you know, he was getting in position to commit, but both the supports died, so he's in no man's land there. So he has to try and escape, but he dies anyway. It just goes from bad to worse for the Fusion. They have ultimates coming online, but how many more ultimates does Seoul have, including the sound barrier now, to counter the blade? So there needs to be something big here. Zest or somebody on this team of Fusion needs to kind of get a free frag with no ultimates used.
I mean, he's just going to get mowed down. Attack visor here from Vince. He's just completely unhindered up on the high ground. Manages to clean up, what, 3 kills there with the visor itself. Doesn't need too much else to go with it. There's nothing that the Fusion can do. They have this blade. They don't have the nano quite yet to go with it.
You know what?
There's a sound barrier here for Vindheim.
Yeah, like I said, he does have that, and that's going to be really critical. But at the same time as well, because Seoul are playing dive here, they probably want to pull the trigger early. They can force a fight very early away from the point, and that's not what Fusion want. They want to try and drag this one into the point so they can use a grab. Otherwise, the grab is probably just going to be a solo on the Smurf, and he's got a primal, so there's no shot that he will die in a grab.
Now running out of time. 10 seconds remaining.
The
Fix up.
Fix is dead.
Dead. Prophet gets into the back line, and there's the stick. He gets Zest as well. The blade is not going to get pulled. The nano has to be used in desperation just to try to keep Carpe alive. They're on the point. They're keeping it contested, so the overtime will come in. Fury finds Prophet. Alleviates a little bit of pressure there as Smurf, well, manages to survive. Manages to get the kill onto Aim God as well. They have to play the point, but the boop comes in from Vindheim. They push him off, and it's only 46.3% accrued.
And it's creative Vindheim, by the way, 2v1 versus Carpe Death Blossom, and they beat the Carpe Death Blossom as 2 supports. That usually doesn't happen unless you land, I guess, all of your Ana utility, which I'm assuming Creative did, off screen, because he has been, the guy just hit sleep darts like no one's problem. Like, this guy has been so good in terms of landing those, you know, all the Ana utility. To be honest with you, Smurf, like I said, was going to cut off the rest of the team, forced to grab away from the point. He gets solo grabbed, but he's got a primal, so the solo grab does absolutely nothing. I mean, you're in a situation where once Aim God is dead, that's it. You got no more supports. Done. No more supports. The fact that Prophet is the player to come in, deletes Fixer, then gets a stick on the Zest, it's unreal. And there was only one play that I think may have saved Zest, and that is if Aim God does a extremely quick reaction nano onto Zest, where the 50% damage reduction saves him from the pulse bomb. That would have been it. But if that doesn't come through, and it didn't come through, but if that doesn't come through, game's over.
Well, it very well could be in just a few moments here. You can tell the Dynasty very fired up. Something tells me that these guys have been looking forward to this matchup, to playing through this rivalry, and to stomping the Fusion. As right now, that's what's happening, at least here on Midtown. A bit closer on the last 2 maps, but not much to speak of here on Midtown. Leap up onto the high ground there. Fitz trying to see if anyone's playing forward. He'll just swap off the Widowmaker, go right back over to the Soldier.
And this is going to come down, in my opinion, to a nano fight. You know, Aim God won that quite handily last time, but they couldn't actually use that for anything. The sleep dart, again, talking about creative, that puts a lot of pressure onto the healers and onto Fury as well. They instantly lose position from that, and Smurf goes in.
Dive in deep, Zest down to a sliver of HP, narrowly manages to stay alive. Aim God again, surging, trying to get this nano boost up. He's already at 35%.
Health back steal.
There's a hell of a lot of healing to do. His Prophet just dipping around the back, grabs his little mini pack. Sees the pings, know that there's an Ana right around the corner, and Aim God going to end up going down, trying to keep himself alive, but he's already antied out. Prophet rejoins the fight, just gets Carpe from behind. Zest is gone, this fight is over, it would seem. Fury down low, ends up dying. That'll be the cleanup, that'll be the closeout. Not even close here on this map. The Seoul Dynasty, they showed up ready to absolutely feast, and they have. 3-0 for them after full holding the Fusion. They take it off the back of one fight.
Yeah, I mean, Seoul Dynasty, they're in their playoffs level performance already. We talked about the fact that, hey, we have players Prophet. How about regular season Prophet? That might as well just be as good at the moment. Seoul, they bounced back from a really shaky start in their season, right? An opening loss, a very close series versus Valiant. And to be fair, Valiant's a decent team now. But this is where they put their foot down. This is where they make their mark. And they say, look, we're not a mediocre team in this region. Fusion, they've had a great start. But now we're going to test them, and test them they did. Fusion might have 3-0'd the Shanghai Dragons, but Seoul Dynasty will do the exact same now to the Fusion instead. And everybody had insane moments. I know Vindane probably started off a little slow in that opening map, but then he had the massive boop kills and a bunch of environmentals on Lijiang Tower. Creative across the entire board. Fitz was solid. Prophet obviously was insane today. But the player that I think made an unreal difference no matter which opponent that he had was Smurf. Doesn't matter whether he's up against Balisria. Doesn't matter whether he's up against Fury. He was the guy. He's the player of the match. He was. This is two-time champion Smurf level performance coming through today.
Oh, absolutely was. I mean, he will go ahead and be our player of the match, of course, because while everybody did have their individual moments, as you were saying, everybody really sharing in the pop-offs, really sharing in this 3-0. It was Smurf out the gate. I mean, plays the Zarya, plays the Winston, the Reinhardt. It all looks utterly incredible for him. And he just absolutely wreaked havoc on the side of the Philadelphia Fusion. If he was diving into the back line, pretty much every single time, the guy was getting away with a kill, or he's forcing ultimates.
And he doesn't die.
Beautiful play from him, especially Dorado. That was just a clinic that he was putting on.
He was invincible. On Dorado, he refused to die. We joked about limit testing, but I mean, did it really ever get tested? Because Fusion could never properly punish him. So Smurf he understands limits too. He knows how to dance his bubbles. He knows how to work around his healer LOS and play low HP Winston. He played that too, as about as flawlessly as I've ever seen anybody play it. So Smurf really had an incredible day of performances, and off the back of, I think, an opening season where there was some criticism towards, like, well, what is Smurf's role here? What is he trying to play? He's a solo tank of the Seoul Dynasty, but he's playing like every single tank across the board. But we know that Winston is probably his best, and here he shows that, yeah, Winston is my best hero, and this is why.
Yeah, I'm curious if this was, maybe nerves a little bit, given that this is such a rivalry, especially one that you and I have kind of built up between these two squads. Maybe this is a little bit of nerves from the rookie players kind of coming out here on the side of the Fusion, because it didn't seem like that consistency, that cohesion that we have been seeing from them in their first few series was there. It was definitely a lot more disjointed. Zest, sure, he had his moments. The Genji performance, especially on Control Center, was utterly incredible from him. But widely, it didn't feel like the Fusion were playing as a cohesive unit. So maybe it's the nerves. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just an off day, because that can absolutely happen. But it is the Dynasty holding their heads high. A 3-0 to kick off the evening. A very fast one at that. We're just an hour into the broadcast. But damn, what a way to start things off. That's the first Spaghetti Bowl of the year out of the way. And Dynasty going to be feeling very good about that one.
Well,
we're not done yet, though, guys. We're going to go to a quick little break, and when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about this series, and then we'll get geared up for Hangzhou versus Chengdu, so don't go anywhere. We'll see you in a few.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Upper Deck, the official trading card of the Overwatch League. And by TeamSpeak, the official voice supplier of the Overwatch League.